Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. It's Monday. We are joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Fine Monday to you.
I always look forward to Mondays.
I look forward to Mondays too.
I wish more of the viewers did, but
well, there's thousands of them watching you. So what more do you want? Millions?
Yeah.
We'll try to get you a gig on Fox News. You would fit in well over there.
Let's just stay right where we are.
All right, I want to begin with some of the biggest news of last week, and that was the Jeff Long firing, and now we have speculation about the head football coach. It certainly dominated a lot of the week's news last week, and it became a lot of conversation over the weekend as well. Is there any doubt that football is king? If there was a winning record in football right now, we wouldn't be having this drama.
I continue to have people say to me when I say, well, Jeff, if the new interim athletic director, I joked that she has to be fired now because under her leadership we lost to Mississippi State. The idea that Long was being blamed for the record of the team, and they say, oh no, there's more to it. Oh no, there's this and this and this and this. I don't know what the other things supposedly were. I mean, I've talked to some friends of board members who didn't like Long, but I don't know what the other things were. But you are right, in my view, those things would not matter if the team, rather than if they were like 8-3 or even 7-4, if we had a reputable football team, those would not be factors. It's all about football pays the bills, and the crowds are getting a little bit pitiful. So no, I mean it's still a football-driven culture, football-driven state.
When was the last time you went to a football game?
You remember a couple of falls ago, their good season, where they closed with several wins. They shut out Ole Miss at Fayetteville.
Lost to Mississippi State by 1 point, I think. But other than that, they were like 5 or 6.
They beat Ole Miss in Fayetteville in the rain on a November Saturday, 20-0, and Ole Miss was ranked. And they were on their way, and they won out and then won a bowl game. I took my sister, who's a big Razorback fan, to the game, to that game, and it was an exciting, full crowd. Happier days. We thought at that time that Belima was quite a hire, and that's about the time, I think, or maybe before that, when he got the big buyout provision.
Right.
Things can change.
Things change. All right, let's talk about what happened here. Speaking of change, 25 years ago there was some change in Arkansas politics, and today there is some change happening in Arkansas politics. So I want to take one before the other. The Clinton 25th anniversary of his presidency, big to do this past weekend. James Carville in town, a lot of old, the Clinton gang was here. They didn't reminisce so much about yesterday as they talked about yesteryear, like last year seemed to be more the focus than 25 years ago. Fair?
Fair. Can I first say, did I just say Belima?
Yeah.
I meant Belima.
I'll let you correct that.
Yeah. I realized what I said, and in the meantime, you asked me another question. I don't know what it was. No, I do know exactly what it was. Yes, the Clintons gathered and had a candid, seemingly, a conversation in front of 3,000 adoring, I call them Clinton cultists. They don't appreciate being called that. And it was on the 25th anniversary, and it was ostensibly a reunion, a retrospective. But of course, what it ended up leading to was what Carville called the elephant in the room, and they went off on Trump. Hillary did, and sounded somewhat bitter, but understandably. And they ended up saying what I found to be very important truths about the decline in our politics and the decline in our political culture. Bill Clinton, who's very optimistic and remains so, he said the United States is still better positioned for the future than any other country in the world. The only thing holding us back is our stupid politics. That's what he said, our stupid politics. And he talked about the genome research and how we're 99.5% the same. I think he's talked about. But only we emphasize those small differences to the point that we can no longer solve problems and get along and deal with each other constructively in terms of governing ourselves. So my column tomorrow will say they told some important truths, and I can hear a lot of their detractors saying they've never told the truth in their life and they're bitter. But basically, I conclude that you can have a history of not telling the truth at all the time, and still, in one setting, on one occasion, tell some absolute truth that we want to hear from a position of authority. I mean, Bill Clinton was, his personal things aside, he led the nation through 8 years of general prosperity and stability in international relations. She was a senator, secretary of state, and do you know, she got more votes for president than any white American in history. The only person ever to get more votes to be popular votes, to get more votes, was Barack Obama. And she's been a Secretary of State who has dealt with issues around the globe. So yeah, they're credible and authoritative, and it's a rare opportunity to see them sit together and talk about things that candidly. And it was important. And I believe we need to move beyond their politics in Arkansas. And that was the idea, when I say that, that makes some of their fans mad, but I think they made that case. I think they made the case that politics in our generation, theirs, has failed us and is poisoned and was got to be changed. And so I take some real important lessons from that appearance.
And I think this was a kind of almost an umbilical cord cut as well, in that, hey, okay, we've celebrated this 25th anniversary. It was a spectacular time. We will come back and celebrate other big milestones down the road, but it is time for a new generation of Democratic leadership. You're not going to see Bill or Hillary Clinton be other than statesmen, stateswomen of the party, I think, going forward. You've got a bunch of young candidates, not only in Arkansas, but at the national level, too. There's some fresh faces out there.
There are, and it's changing. But in Arkansas, where my particular focus is, we've seen in the last few days the emergence of people out of the Teach for America movement and young educators devoted from their college days to the concept of public service, now deciding that maybe public service should encompass put your name on the ballot. And they represent a progressivism that is dissented from Clinton and Bumpers and Pryor and all of those, but different. It's different issues for its different time. It's like the head of the old Democratic Leadership Conference, Al Fromm, told me once. He said the problem with Democrats today, he meant in '92, is that they're still wedded to Roosevelt when they should be wedded to FDR, not for his programs, but that he had programs, and they should have programs themselves for their time. That's what I think the growing pain we're seeing in the Democratic Party. And yeah, I think that was sort of a final, a valedictory for Bill and Hillary in terms of Arkansas politics. But it did give me a chance to say, they gathered to sing once more, "Don't Stop Thinking About Yesterday," which is one of my favorite quips, which the Clinton people don't appreciate.
Because it was really "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow."
That was the song, but you see, I'm saying...
I go where you're going.
Okay.
All right. He's John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
And welcome back to Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. All right. Houston, we have a problem in America right now. The headlines in politics are being dominated by men who seem to have a real problem with sexual assault, sexual innuendo, sexual predators. Are there decent human beings in politics anymore? You're not hearing about any of them. It is all negative at this point in time, and I don't think that we're really beyond the tip of the iceberg on this. I think a lot more is going to come out.
No, we're going through what I think is a seismic exercise culturally. I got a column coming later in the week. It's arrows, and I give an arrow down to men and an arrow up to women. I don't mean to trivialize it. This is very important, but men, I gave them the arrow down on the basis that they tend to lose their boyish charm, but not their boyish maturity levels. I mean, I just think we've grown up with lingering juvenile attitudes about women and sexuality, and I think that's coming to the fore. I mean, Al Franken maybe was just being funny, but that he thought that was funny, and that we would think that's funny, is symptomatic of the problem. Women are going to get it through our thick skulls, I think, that we shouldn't, we're not to be condescended to, they're not to be bullied, they're certainly not to be assaulted, they're not to be flirted with without invitation, they are to be taken professionally and seriously, at least as seriously as men are taken. And I think we're going through that, but the embedded attitudes are so strong that it's a seismic occurrence, and they're going to be, apparently, last week it was 2 or 3 a day of old allegations, and I think it's going to continue. And when we come out on the other side, maybe we'll have it right. Maybe we will have evolved.
Perhaps it will be a stronger case, too, that it would not be a bad idea to have more women in positions of power in politics and in business, so that there is a little bit more equity in the scale. On that.
Amen. I think that's absolutely true. And it's not for any purpose other than that women can do the jobs just as well, if not better. I spoke to the Lee women voters years ago down at Camden, the Arkansas Lee women voters, and I said, people say that the Arkansas legislature, for better or worse, is a microcosm of the state of Arkansas. I said, it is not. Not until 51% of them are women will it be that. And we need to get to that point. Mm-hmm. We do.
As two middle-aged white guys sit on a TV set here and pronounce that. So
well, let's bring in a
I bring diversity onto this show quite frequently.
Just not the day I'm here, because I don't like to share the stage with anyone, male or female.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
All right, lastly, let's talk about what is happening with the major piece of legislation in Washington, D.C. right now, and that is the effort to push tax reform, tax cuts over the finish line. Our Senator Tom Cotton, has inserted repealing the individual mandate from the Affordable Care Act into here. It's all complicating and unraveling as we talk. There's probably about 5 senators that seem to be on the fence now, right, and they only have 2 to give. So do you still think tax reform gets done in the Senate?
I think they've got to have some kind of tax reform. They can't have another epic failure. And I said a couple, 3 weeks ago, in the end, by the end of the year, I think they'll go, oh, heck, let's just cut the corporate tax rate and pretend we pay for it somehow. I think that's what they really want to do. They want to take, not necessarily the small business people who have to pay individual tax rates if it's a pass-through income,
correct,
but corporations cut their rates and say that this is going to stimulate greatness for our economy.
Bring some folks back on from out of the country into the country.
Right, and leave it at that. And I think that's about all I can see they can pass. This Cotton idea, let's repeal the individual mandate. I find that fascinating, and just incredibly fascinating. He and those who support him, and Trump said, hey, look, we can stop forcing people to pay a penalty in their taxes if they don't get in health insurance, and then therefore they will the rates will go up and people will not have health insurance, and therefore we can have all these happy savings because we're not having to subsidize working class people's health insurance premium.
Right.
They're happily calling this savings, when what I call it is throwing people off health insurance, and so that they can have tax cuts, which whenever you cut tax rates, most of the cash goes to the people who already have the cash. I'm accused there, I'm sure, of class warfare. So what? It's just accuse me of what you want. That's what you're doing. And this happy face, this smiley face, look at these savings because we're doing away with the individual mandate. That means, look at what we're saving if we don't have to subsidize health insurance for all these people who can't afford it otherwise. And yesterday on the talk shows, Trump's people were starting to move away from that. First of all, you got Collins and maybe Alexander and maybe McCain, Murkowski. So you can't pass tax reform with that in there. But Trump just wants to pass something. And his people are saying, you can leave it in if you want to, you can take it out if you want to. Can we please just have an accomplishment before the end of the year? That's the White House position.
He needs something to tweet about.
And to celebrate and to proclaim himself a successful president. Not that he doesn't do that already.
All right. Well, you're a successful columnist.
Well, thank you. And you're a successful multimedia platform mogul.
All right.
Just a mutual admiration.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too. You have a good one. You and your
All right.
family. All right.
Same to you all for a happy Thanksgiving. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.